recording. Then that way I have that. And then I'm going to actually give you the host, because I know you got the presentation.
Cool.
So a lot of you guys don't know Mamie. Mamie and I have been friends for 5-6 years now. We've actually worked together at different camps. We've done trainings together. Mamie is a world-renowned speaker. She is a trainer. She's a coach. She empowers women. She actually takes a group of women over to India and gets them on stage where literally hundreds of thousands of people get to see these people. And I know Juliet's here. She's been on that trip with Mamie, got to speak in front of thousands of people, has been asked to come as a key speaker at other events because of being on that stage. And, we are so blessed to have her here tonight. So make sure you got your pen and paper ready. Make sure if you have cracked your code already, make sure that you have it next to you or around you, because you're going to want to look at it. You might want to go, oh, that's what they're talking about. So I'm super stoked. Mamie's messing around with the screen, but
hey, I'm good. I'm good now.
Awesome. So I know a lot of you guys got your microphones off. So if you want to just do what is it? The deaf people, when they say hello to people, they do the celebration kind of wave. So give your celebration wave to Mamie and let her know you're there and excited and everything. And Mamie, the floor is all yours.
Awesome. Well, it's not often I get to say hey to people from all over the United States, and I believe we may even have some people popping in from Canada. So I'm real excited about that. And tonight we're going to talk about your personality for buying, as well as talking a little bit about all the 4 other personalities that you're going to learn about that you actually engage in every moment of your life. In fact, if you have someone sitting next to you, why don't you go ahead and say, hey, I'm going to learn about you tonight. And as you can see, there's going to be a lot of interaction today. And I'm not going to only be talking and showing you a PowerPoint. I'm going to actually give you some activities to think about and identify people that these personalities sound like. So is that good or good?
Good.
Good? You can just give me a thumbs up if you're okay with that.
That's
so
awesome,
before
man.
we get started, raise your hand if you're ready to learn why your customers or even your spouse buy things. Raise your hand. Great? And raise your hand if you're excited to discover actually what makes them say yes. Awesome. Thank you. Well, you're in the right place at the right time. And I tell you, you're going to learn so much that you're going to go, wow, I could have had a V8. Anyway, so before I go on, you're going to be spending about an hour to 90 minutes with me. And I want you to just know who I am and where I come from. Is that okay with you if I just share a little bit about me?
Yes.
I know that Ken already gave you a background, but just so you know, both Ken and I are licensed and certified trainers. We went through the training together. I've been actually using this system since 2010, and that was when I actually was part of a corporate company that did broadcast software. So wherever there was a cable company or a television company, you could find me. So that's the kind of job that I came from. With B.A.N.K, I was able to actually put together double my salary once I actually got to learn what B.A.N.K was all about. And because I paid close attention, I was able to take the concepts that I learned in 3 days and apply it within 30 days and revamp my whole corporate system, where I was actually the head of integration and implementation. Is that good or good? Now this was the beauty.
Good.
The beauty was this: just by understanding how to talk 4 different personality languages, in 30 days, I was able to reutilize 39 employees, who were about to get laid off, and I was able to secure a $23 million contract that actually
That's
allowed
nice.
39 people that I worked with to actually get to choose where they wanted to live for about a year. And so they got to choose
That's nice.
Australia, Hong Kong, Singapore. Kenya. So if you ask me, does this work? I can tell you this much. Ken and I, we wouldn't be here if it didn't work.
That's
Okay?
right.
So I wanted to share that background with you.
Yeah.
Because it's
Hey, Mamie,
important. Yeah.
before we get going further, I know there's a couple people that are on the phones. Just make sure that you have them muted. And if you're on the computer, make sure you just mute yourself, because I just want to make sure everybody can hear you loud and clear and get all this information.
Awesome.
Thanks.
So any questions so far? Just chime in, okay? Thanks, Ken.
Yeah, you're welcome.
So let me tell you a little bit about the owner and CEO, because she is both Ken and I. She's helped us mentor. She's actually done this business. She actually created this business because she wanted to be the top salesperson. She's got a 20-year track record, actually in the infancy of this program. And can you believe today, because of what she learned, she was able to introduce this program into 40 countries. We have only 150 licensed trainers around the world. And literally, it has been proven as the #1 personality-based sales in the world. So let me tell you a little bit about what impact this has had on Sherry Tree. So when Sherry Tree first started in sales, she earned a whopping $700 in 1 year. Now, how many of you can live on $700? Not many of us. Well, in a 5-year period, Sherry actually did all the training she could. She took all the classes, read all the books that she could from all of the mentors, such as Robert Kiyosaki, Sir Richard Branson, and she still couldn't figure out what was wrong. And she really felt that she was broken. And I know when I first started in sales, Ken probably can say the same thing. When we started in sales, we also did the training. We also did the learns. We also went to seminars, and we couldn't figure out why we couldn't get up there. So what she did was she realized that all the tests, all the training, and all the sales that she got in the field gave her an understanding of sales, but it never gave her an understanding of herself. And it never gave her the understanding of who you are and what you wanted when you were purchasing. And so what she did was she took a look at that, and she actually reverse engineered the concept. And this is not new. Four personalities are actually based on the 4 personalities that go back to Hippocrates. And that 4 personalities have already been proven in the medical field. With Sherry, what she did was she took a look at each of those personalities and said, do people really purchase or buy or relate to others based on a certain kind of personality? And so she actually did her own studying. And what she did was, once she found the 4 types of personalities, she was able to take her business from $72K and in 1 year increase her sales and her relationship with her clients up to 695%. So she earned over $500,000 in that 1 year. Now, when she actually rolled this out, she found that as she practiced learning what personalities was right in front of her, she increased in a 3-year period over $1 million a year. So raise your hand if you could increase your value up to even 100,000. That would make a big difference for you. Awesome. It made a big difference for me. What I didn't realize is that when I was in front of big time executive or corporate people, especially the CBS's, the Sonys of the world, I actually was in a position where, 1, being female, 2, being able to step out of that comfort zone and actually speak directly with the people I was dealing with, I never thought would make a big difference. And it was amazing because as I started working with these people and I got to know who they were and what personalities, all I started doing was using value words that I learned for each personality. And they looked at me and they said, wow, you understand what I'm saying. And that's what B.A.N.K is going to be all about. So let me just give you just a few more tips about where B.A.N.K has come from. Because a lot of times people say, well, personality tests, well, I'll learn more about it. But personality tests with the commitment of understanding each person sitting in front of you is going to be priceless. So in 2013, Sherry Tree was invited to speak at the Harvard University. They were so impressed with Sherry that Sherry was able to take a complex topic such as sales and actually simplify it into 4 different personalities. And with Harvard University, they actually asked her to come back and teach their master's program, Master's of Business program, MBA, the exact science that she was using out there with sales. Is that awesome or awesome? So in 2014, University of California, Berkeley invited her to come and teach B.A.N.K to their MBA alumni. And so all of a sudden, all these universities started actually catching on to this theory. In 2016, the San Francisco State University decided that they wanted to test these theories and in actuality, put together a blind test and actually wrote a white paper based on B.A.N.K and how it actually worked. And can you believe this? They actually said that B.A.N.K can predict buying behavior in less than 90 seconds. And that is what I'm going to be teaching you today about all the different personalities and how you can apply it not only to sales, but apply it to just talking to someone. So relationships, we use this with students. I use this with my kids. I also use it with my husband. It has made a big difference in my life. And I know Kent said that it's made a difference for him as he actually builds teams. And this is the one thing that I love about B.A.N.K. It's not a one-to-one skill set. It is a one-to-many. And how many of you are in the business of actually talking to people? Raise your hand. Awesome. Awesome. Then this is going to fit right in with what you are going to be doing. Robert Kiyosaki is one of Sherry's mentors. She's also been on the stage with him. And he actually said the ability to sell is the #1 skill in business. And he also went on to say that, and if you're in sales, Sherry Tree is the person that you should be getting trained by. So with this, again, sales is one way, relationships is another. Now, sometimes a lot of people, they have an aversion to selling. And then we kind of make that up. And if you're like me, you'll learn. I'm a nurturer. So the nurturers say, I'm not going to sell, I'm going to educate. Then we have the action people, and we'll talk more about them. They don't want to educate, they want to sell. And so when you can understand both of these personalities, you'll get to actually understand how you need to step up your language and the ways that you speak to each of these personalities. Okay? So how many of you are actually in sales? Can I get a raise of hand? Okay, if you're in business, you're in sales. That's all to it. Just imagine, these numbers actually come from Salesforce and Altify. Can you believe 67% of sales personnel miss their quota? And another 87% are actually inadequately prepared to actually pitch what they're going to sell. And by the time you get in front of the client and you're not even speaking their language, your client is already turned off, and 66% of those people have already turned their ears off. So how many of you have been told that sales is a numbers game? And you have to get more no's in order to get what?
Yes.
More yeses. How many of you want to go out every day and ask for more no's just so you can get comfortable? I can tell you this much. Kent and I don't like to go out and go get no's. Randy raised his hand. Hey, Randy, how about if we get more yeses than no's? I think that would be even better, right? Awesome. So what if we could show you that proven way to get more yeses? You know, I know that sounds crazy sometimes, but when we get it, well, do we get inspired every morning to get up and say, oh man, I think I'll go get about 10 more no's so that I can get one more yes? No, let's go out and get more yeses. And in order to get more yeses, we have to understand who we are connecting with. And that's a big word, connecting. Because when we're out there meeting and greeting, the object of the game is not to get more no's, but to get more connections. And when you get more connections, you get more yeses. You can help me fill in the blanks. That's not a problem. Okay. So companies spend thousands of hours and millions of dollars annually teaching people how to sell. But in actuality, we have many ways that we can learn to sell, but we need to actually know why. What's the bottom line? Why our customers buy? What makes them tick? What is it that we can do to get our customers to say yes before we even pitch what we are going to sell? Okay? And so this is a secret. The secret is that it's not a numbers game. It really is a people's game. And if you only study sales training, then you're going to only get ordinary results. But if you actually take a moment and change the study to people, you'll get extraordinary results. In fact, Brian Tracy said, all business is a people business. Can you imagine that? All of our business is dependent upon someone else, some other person. Even if you're online, you depend on someone else purchasing from you. Even in relationships, it takes two of us to build relationships. So is it possible that one idea can change the world? And in the movie Pay It Forward, a person asked, is it possible for one idea to change the world? And you and I both know the answer is yes. And what I want to suggest is that that one idea is a four-letter word called B.A.N.K. Now, B.A.N.K is personality-based, it's people-focused, and it is profit-driven. I'm going to tell you about the four different personalities. The first is called blueprint. The second is action. The third is nurturing. And the fourth is knowledge. And that spells out B.A.N.K. Okay? So we're going to go through each of those areas so that you can understand what a blueprint is, what an action is, what a nurturer and a knowledge person is. All right? Now, the question I want you to actually think about is selling an art or a science? Well, for those of you who are knowledge-based, B.A.N.K is a science. It's been proven in that white paper. But the question that I want you to also understand is, can you understand the secret of B.A.N.K is not numbers, but it is people. And when you put the science and the people together, we get extraordinary results. And so with B.A.N.K, just so you know, it has been built on the four temperaments that was introduced by Hippocrates. It is the theory of four different personalities. Hippocrates spoke of four temperaments. B.A.N.K is four personalities. So let me ask you, how many of you have actually taken some form of personality test? A DISC. Most employers use DISC. Then we have an MBTI, color code. We also have one for animals in the zodiac. In actuality, many people have taken one personality test after another. But just imagine, each of these personality tests taught you a lot about yourself, but it didn't teach you anything about the people that you were working with. That true or true? That's true. Okay? So what I want you to realize is this. Not one of these assessments are better than the other. And if you ask us, If bank is like these, well, we tell you, the bank is completely the same, but completely different. And how we say that is this, and why we say that is this. Each of those personality tests will tell you exactly who you are, but it doesn't tell you who that person is sitting across the table. And so those personality tests are actually based in what we call the psychology. So it's a psychology of you. In B.A.N.K, we base our personality codes in the theory of biology, spelled B-U-Y-O-L-O-G-Y. And it focuses on the unique buying behaviors of each of the clients. It also focuses on values of each of the personalities. So this is what we're going to be talking about. At its root, because Sherry reverse engineered the concept of personality types, she specifically built this system based on the purpose of how we close more sales and how we actually make connections with our clients, with our spouses, with our children. The concept is not focused on you. The concept is focused on the other person. And the key to learning this is going to be based on what their values are all about. What are their dreams? What are their hopes? What are some of the challenges, some of the likes and some of the dislikes? And once you can understand each of the different personalities, we kind of say that we're going to crack that personality code, then you'll be able to actually switch languages to fit the person that is actually sitting in front of you. All right? Tony Robbins said, let your prospect determine your presentation. And in B.A.N.K, if you have 4 different personalities, how many different presentations do you think you should have ready for a client? 1, 2, 3, 4. You actually should have 4 different personalities. And as we go through that, you'll get to see how we determine what to use. Any questions so far? No? Okay. Did I hear a question coming on? No? Okay. So this is the most common mistake. We each have one primary personality that we all are. Hopefully you've actually determined that by taking the test. So how many of you actually took the personality test that Kent sent out to you? Cool. So Kent, if you don't mind, can you unmute? I'd like to hear some of the different codes that are out there.
Actually, you have control, so you at the host, so you can unmute people.
Okay, well, let me get
you might want to hit your clear the screen because you hit your mouse and drew on it.
Ah, okay. Okay. Sorry about that.
No worries. I know there's some people who, unmute Randy, he'll tell you, and I know Michelle will tell you.
Okay. Randy, what's your B.A.N.K code?
Action.
Action. All right, thank you. Michelle?
Nurturing.
Nurturing. Aw. All right, what about Dawn?
This
Dawn,
is also yellow.
You're
Nurturing.
yellow, so you're nurturing. So I'm going to say, ah. How's about Joni?
I know Joni is totally an N.
And let's see. Juliet, what's your code?
Knowledge, nurture, blueprint, action.
Can you just see the difference? Juliet, she was a knowledge, nurturer, blueprint, action. And you'll understand why she gave you the full range. Kent, what's yours?
You know, that's the funny thing that you asked that, because I asked people to attempt to crack my code today.
Uh-huh.
We did a Facebook Live, and everybody was like, "Oh, your action, your action, your action,"
Not me.
and that is my first one. Is
Mhm.
an action.
Yeah.
But everybody got my second one completely off. Everybody was saying, Kent, your action, you're a knowledge person, you're a blueprint, you're everything else except the nurture. So I'm actually action, nurture, knowledge, blueprint.
Cool.
Yeah.
Cool. Awesome. All right. So we're going to talk a little bit more about the action. I mean, the blueprint, action, nurture, knowledge in a few minutes. So just imagine if you gave your presentation, and we're going to pick on Randy because Randy's an A. Randy gave a presentation in his A style, and Randy, A's are very gregarious. They love to be the center of attention, and we'll go through that in a little bit. But you know, nurturers is not about them, it's about the community. And so if they sat through your presentation and you did only A style presentation, when you did that, the nurturers would be going, oh my God, what about the community? What is he going to be giving back? And so there's a potential that 3 out of 4 people are not going to go. So 1 out of 4, that's you out of 4, you'll deliver the right presentation to. When you've got nurturers sitting in your audience, you may hit 2 out of 4, but in most cases, it's going to be 3 out of 4 when you're making that A-type presentation. So can you imagine if we're talking in our predominant personality and we have 3 other codes out there, we may hit that 66% where we turn them off. Now let's do a opportunity cost. Let's see how much that could actually be hurting you in that pocket. So take out a piece of paper. And what I'd like you to do is I would like you to write down your current income. So write down your current income. And then what I'd like you to do is I want you to multiply, so just pretend your current income, my example is 50,000. You multiply that by 3. And the reason why I'm using 3 is the other 3 presentations that you may not be able to close. So you multiply that by 3, and what is that amount? So we can look at that amount 2 ways. We can look at that amount as, wow, if I actually could speak the 4 languages, that means I could close 3 more people than I close now. That means that if your income is 50,000 and you're doing sales, you could potentially be bringing in $150,000 more each year if you could actually speak the language of the other 3 personalities. So let's take a look at that. I'm looking, and I'm going to make an assumption here. Many of you probably have another 10 to 20 years more in sales or in working. So what I'd like you to do is just figure out how many more years you're going to actually be working in your current position or in your sales position. And I'm just going to say that some of us are young enough to put in 20 more years. And if we're in sales and we got 20 more years, we multiply 20 times 150,000. That means there's a potential that we could be leaving $3 million on the table if we don't learn how to speak, connect, and close the clients that are actually in front of us. Now, is that a big amount or is that a big amount? That is unbelievable. So what we're going to do is we're going to talk about all of the different personalities, and it is a system. And then we're going to show you how to take these extra income or extra connections that you make because you know the bank system and take that to the bank. So let's take a look at the system. And I'm going to go ahead and change my glasses here because this is what I want you to remember. The system is being able to look through the glasses. How do you like them glasses, eh? You like them, Kent? So the system is being able to take a look at each personality through the lens of the personality that you may be working with. So let's start with blueprint. All right. And blueprint, the blueprint personality, we're going to explain it one through the, you'll always see a graphic for each of the personalities, and then you're going to see a tool set. So just imagine the blueprint. The blueprint, if we looked at a box, the blueprint must work within the box. All right? When they're in the box, that's their parameters. Their tool set means that they like to think inside the box. We'll talk about who likes outside of the box, but for now, blueprint is in the box. Okay? And when a blueprint personality is looked at, they are conservative. They're very conservative. And what do blueprints do? Blueprint, if you took a look at a blueprint of a building, what does it give you? It gives you every single detail of how the building has to be built. Is that right? And with a blueprint, you see that they have rulers, the T-square, they've got blueprints, they've got a compass. So when you think of blueprint, I want you to think of conservative. I want you to also think of completely predictable. And everything they do must be inside that box. In fact, the most important behavior that drives a blueprint is they are very detailed oriented. So let's take a look at some of the values of a blueprint. And every single personality has values that drive them. Okay? So with a blueprint wants stability. That person wants to make sure that you have structure, systems, planning, processes, predictability. Responsibility, they believe in duty and rules. They also love credentials and they love titles and tradition. Okay? And when you understand the essence of a blueprint, you'll be able to completely alter the interaction of that particular customer. And the lesson and the likelihood of you getting no, if you are aware of these values, will decrease dramatically and you will get more yeses. And you mind if I actually tell you a little bit of a story so I can give you an idea of who a blueprint is? Okay?
Mamie, go ahead and tell us a story.
I am. Thank you, Ken. So the story that I'd like to share with you is actually happened to Sherry. You know, she had actually booked an appointment with a gentleman who actually did stocks and bonds. He was a financial planner. And what happened was, for about 2-3 weeks, she had been providing him with a lot of data, a lot of stats. He also wanted to make sure that what he was getting into was very low risk. And that is another part of Blueprint, is that risk and budgets are their main concern. So if you ever work with a Blueprint, always come under budget and reduce the risk as much as possible. Well, after about 3 weeks of taking a look at all the data that she provided, he called her up and said, "Hey, Sherry, you know, I'm ready to actually sign on the dotted line." Sherry was so excited because when she was actually going to close this, she's an A, she was going, woo, cha-ching, cha-ching. It was going to be nice commissions. Well, being the excited action planner that she is, Sherry was actually running 10 minutes late. And so she called the gentleman and said, "Hey, you know, I'm going to actually be 10 minutes late." And when she arrived, you know, she apologized and she started taking her stuff out of her briefcase. And can you believe this gentleman put his hand up and said, you know what, Sherry, before we go any further, I just want to let you know that I no longer want to do business with you. And, you know, Sherry was like, what the hell? What do you mean? You know, so she turned around and told him, well, you know, you called me and you asked me to come, and that's why I'm here to sign the papers. And, you know, he actually looked at his watch and he says, Sherry, you were 10 minutes late and you have disrespected my time. And if this is how you're going to treat me before you have my money, imagine how I think you're going to treat me once you have my money. You know, Sherry was totally blown away. She didn't even understand what was happening. And, you know, it wasn't so much just that particular commission, but when she lost that client, she lost not only commission, but she lost referral base. She lost connections with other people of his caliber, all because she was late. So when you think of blueprint personality, think of the people who like to have organization. They like to be on time. In fact, for a blueprint, on time is 15 minutes early. That's a blueprint. They like predictability. Two biggest values that is a blueprint is the fact that you must be under budget, okay? And you must show them that there is not going to be any risk involved. So take a moment, think about who in your sphere of influence actually fits this personality type. Think about that. Go ahead and write their names down. Because what you want to do when you actually see them again is take a look at how you can interact using these types of values, because these values are what are very important to the blueprint personality.
Yeah, well, they do that. Maybe give them a few minutes to write down the different people that they know that are blueprints and have these values. Go ahead, clean the screen, because I know people like me that drives them nuts.
Oh my goodness, I didn't even see that.
That's all right. Oh, go back.
Hold on.
Just use the erase.
Thank you, Jen.
How do I do that?
Just give me the control and I'll do it real quick.
Okay, I'll stop sharing. How's that?
There you go. No, you have to go back, share your screen. Give me the remote. All right, so I hope you guys are able to write down some people, because I know myself, a lot of people think I'm a blueprint. A lot of people think that I'm the blueprint because I was in the military and because of how I structure things. But remember, I was in the military I got out in 2003. So here's the thing. Your colors, your print can change throughout time. You're not always going to be a yellow. You're not always going to be a blue. Because when you evolve and you grow, like a rubber band, you stretch it enough, it doesn't go back to the same way it was. Does that make sense? So you can always change your colors because you're always evolving, you're always changing, you're always learning and growing and becoming a different person. All right? So this is why it's key to know these, because the person that might sit in front of you today might be a different color 3-4 years from now, and you need to know that they've transitioned from the different colors, because now you're going to have to speak with them different. All right, go ahead, Mamie, you're good to go on your screen. Go ahead and share it.
Awesome. The other thing that you want to keep in mind is this. Some of the occupations of a blueprint are accountants, teachers, lawyers, managers, and officers, like our military. Okay? So if you have this idea of a blueprint, what do you think their greeting looks like? This is what their greeting looks like. It is literally a formal handshake. Hold on, yeah? So in a blueprint, blueprints like to give you formal handshakes. So if you kind of guess that the person that you're actually meeting is a blueprint, then they're going to expect you to give them a formal handshake. Any questions on blueprint? I know I got to go a little quicker now. It's 8:12. All right, we're going to go on to action. If you notice, action personality, when it comes to the box, the left-hand corner, they don't want the box. They want out of the box. So Randy, this is you. You want outside the box. And with actions, we also use the color red for actions. Okay, actions are the movers, the shakers, and the millionaire makers. And they like to be the firecrackers. They explode in your hand. You know, action personality types know how to operate at only one speed. What speed is that? Full speed. They have a need for speed. And they love to put the pedal to the metal and get those RPs running and go for that red line as fast as they can. So this is how actions actually live their lives. Action personality types like to think that they are a celebrity, and they are, at least in their own minds. Okay? I see Randy smiling over there. All right? And you can actually hear them coming long before you see them. And people get, these action people are excited, they're energized, and they simply want to be around people, and people want to be around them. And if you think of an action personality and that box, all they want to do is get out and just shine. All right? You'll find them on stages. You'll find them as actors. You'll see them as musicians. Action people love to speak. They love to be out in front, and they love to be the center of attention. This is the actual values that drive an action personality. Unlike the blueprint, actions want freedom. They want flexibility. They want spontaneity, action, opportunity, excitement. They want attention and stimulation. They want competition, and they want to win. They're fun, and they have a conscious for their image. In fact, they love, Sherry always says, from head to toe, it's all for show. That is a action personality person. So what turns a blueprint on is what turns an action off. So they're complete polar opposites, blueprints and action. And yet in life, those two attract each other. With action, a lot of times, the approach has to be different. Actions really don't want to be constrained by that box. In fact, most of action people, like we said, they are actors, they're athletes, they're salespeople, they're public speakers, and they're entrepreneurs. So what I'd like you to do is just take some time to write down some people that you believe are action personalities. You got anything to add to that, Kent?
I work with a lot of actors and actresses, and this is so true for them because they do want the attention. They like the flexibility and everything on this. So, and a lot of people here are in sales. So, your sales team, your team that's in your business or whatever, just think of those people that are on your team, and now you'll understand why they are the way they are. And if you understand those trigger points, then you are able to communicate better with them and work with them and understand, why they dress so flashy, or why, you might hear them coming through the door and you're like 2 doors down. This is all to help you guys.
Yeah. And believe it or not, actions are your buyers. You give them that bottom line opportunity and you say money, their brain goes cha-ching, cha-ching. They are the ones that make the decisions to buy quicker than any of the 3 other personalities. And you can see why. Personalities they love to see what opportunities are out there. Blueprints, they want to know the exact steps that you're going to take them to actually make that money. So what do you think the greeting looks like? Randy, what do you think the greeting would look like for a personality, action personality?
I'm just a handshake person or a
High five. You're right. Actually, actions love to high five. Okay? So blueprints are formal handshakes. Actions are the high fives. You got it. Thank you, Ken. Right back at you. So when you're greeting an action, and when you can hear them coming down that hall, when you greet them, instead of giving them a handshake, why don't you go ahead and just give them a high five and say, "What's up?" Because that's actually how an action would greet other action members. Any questions on actions? Again, they make decisions very quickly. And they are the ones who will buy quicker. Your blueprints takes a little longer. So let's move on to the nurturer. The blueprint wants to be in the box. The red action wants to be outside of the box. The nurturers, and I know, let's see, Joni and Michelle, nurturers, we like to recycle the box. Okay? With the nurturers, they have amazing personalities. They are like the people magnet. They are the nicest people that you will ever meet. And they will give you the shirt off their backs if you needed it. And the color used for nurturing is yellow. And yellow, when we think of nurturing personalities, we think of what? Warm, fuzzy, friendly, relationship people. You think of maybe sunshine and sunflowers, yellow happy faces, and they have a heart of what? A heart of gold. And coming back again from the box idea, blueprints, everything is in that box. Action, they want out. Nurturers, they want to make sure that everything is okay. So they want to help recycle the box. They want to help make the world a better place. Selling to a nurturer personality, it's a completely new ballgame. If you know someone is a nurturer, you can't go hype. You can't talk about money, and you can't talk about all the details of how you're going to make that money. Nurturers, they have a completely different perspective. In fact, they make their buying decisions based on what you say and how you say it. And if they know that you are all about them or about making an impact in the world, you've got the attention of a nurturer. The decisions are based on their gut feelings. The nurturers are one of the best people to have on a building team. The reason for that, nurturers will take care of all of the members that are now up and coming in your team. So your sales team, keep in mind, we need all 4 different personalities on our sales team. We need the blueprints to help us keep organized, follow the rules, keep in the budget, take no risk. We need the action people, the people who are out there and says, hey guys, we can do this. The opportunity is now, and we can do it together and have fun. Nurturer, They're going to be focusing on what is it that you're giving back? What is it that is, what is it that will make that difference in the world? And when you see the different values that a nurturer goes by, you'll understand why, if you want to sell to a nurturer or if you want to connect with a nurturer, you need to understand why and how you're going to do it. And this is the values of a nurturer. It's relationships, authenticity, personal growth, significance, teamwork, involvement, community. The values of a nurturing personality is based on community, on charity, on ethics, on harmony, morality, and contribution. Okay? These people care more about making a difference than they do about making a dollar. And there are certain things in your sales script that are totally turning them off. And so you just need to be careful when you're addressing people in the audience for nurturing, that you're incorporating your key values of community, authenticity, and personal growth. Okay? And for them, the trigger that turns them on is all about how they can make it better. And to get them to say yes, all you need to do is make them aware of how much you care. That's what they're looking for. Okay, and just imagine every single time that I go to a networking event, every time I see a presenter get up and they do a presentation, and when I see someone in a workshop, the challenge that I have is really listening to what they're saying and then how they're acting. You show me that you're going to make an impact in the community, oh man, I'm all in. So keep in mind, nurturers want you, the salesperson, to be authentic. And you can actually combine all 4 of these personalities into your presentation just by using the different value sets that are designated for each of these personalities. Now, some of the occupations that you'll find nurturers actually gravitate to is nonprofits. They love being nurses, they're social workers, they're life coaches, they're volunteers. They're in the organizations where there are the most people. So I bet you know several of the nurturers in your life. So why don't you take some time to actually write that down? So you guys have some nurturers in mind? Oh, I forgot to put my eyeglasses on.
Can
Anyway.
you say what type of jobs they have or for nurturers?
Sure. You'll find nurturers in positions such as nonprofit agencies. You'll also see them as nurses, as social workers, life coaches.
Teachers.
They love to volunteer. Okay. They gravitate to a lot of them gravitate to nonprofit, because nonprofits are the organizations that are making a difference in the world.
Nurses are another good one as well. EMT people as well, because they want to take care of you. They want to make sure that you're safe and that you're being taken care of, that you're not alone. Think about it, a dog walker. That's another person. Somebody that walks your dogs or owns that business. They're a nurturer.
Yeah. And I'm a nurturer, true and true. I'm the highest value nurturer that you can find. And so Kent and I, Kent knows me. I had to actually, when I got up on stage one day, I turned around and I had to tell one gentleman who was getting kind of rough with me. I said, "Hey, look, mister, Do not mistake my sweetness for a weakness. And he just laughed. And, you know, once I was able to get right to that level, he and I hit it off. This man, I did not realize he was a millionaire. And he just shows up at events just so that he can learn. And, you know, when all was said and done, he literally, I thought he was, you know, when he was boisterous and everything, I thought he was action. But he had a very, very close nurturer personality. And so when I said, do not mistake my weakness, my sweetness for a weakness, he got it. And it was amazing because we went on to do some really neat things together. So know who you are and know who is surrounding you. And then you'll also understand, as you probably are writing down notes, you'll find that some of your toughest clients were the clients with opposite values from you. Now, the blueprint and the action are opposites, polar opposites. But guess what? Those two polar opposites marry majority of the time. The polar opposite for a nurturer is actually the knowledge person. So I'm going to go ahead and put my crazy green glasses on and tell you, oh, before we go on to that, what do you think is the greeting of a nurturer? Michelle and Joni, you guys are true nurturers. Yes, it is a true hug. That is a nurturer's greeting. And just keep in mind, blueprints don't like hugs. A's, they don't really mind the hug. But the next one that I'm going to talk about is the knowledge, and they definitely do not like hugs. All right, so let's take a look at what the knowledge base looks like. The knowledge personality are often intellectually superior to most of us on the planet. They are often the smartest people in the room. And thinking again about the box, you know, the knowledge. So the blueprint, what? The blueprint is inside the box. The the action is out of the box. The nurturers recycle the box. What do you think the knowledge people did? They actually engineered the box. That's how smart they are. And they are often the smartest people in the room. You know, thinking again, with the knowledge, if you take a look at what they are represented with, there's the light bulb. They're represented with the color of green, you know, green like the matrix, like Excel spreadsheets. That is a knowledge-based personality. And knowledge-based are people who actually find knowledge titillating. They love anything data. And they can figure out how to turn a car that runs on gasoline into a car that runs on electricity. They're also responsible for many of the amazing breakthroughs in technology and science. And you know, knowledge personality types can be challenging and intimidating. So if some of you are network marketers, this is a very good way to spot a knowledge. Well, Kent, can I please have more data on there? Can I have a link so that I can do my own research? And can you give me some proof that I can look up for myself? That is a knowledge personality. So if you're trying to sell a knowledge personality, this is the one thing that I want you to keep in mind. Don't get offended if they don't buy from you the first time around. Why? Because a knowledge personality has to do their own research, and they have to have the data that satisfies them, not satisfies you. Now, I'm married to a knowledge person. Let me give you an example of how this goes. I'm a nurturer. I love flowers. So on my first Valentine's Day, I was hoping for my Valentine's flowers and some chocolate. My husband went out and, well, he was my boyfriend at that time. He went out and just bought me a technical, high-tech jacket that was awesome in the wind and the rain, And then if I just layered it, it would be awesome in the snow. And I'm like, oh yeah, okay, this is nice. And can you believe I hurt his feelings? I felt so bad. And I'm like, what the hell? I said, but flowers, he goes, yeah, flowers die. I said, well, chocolates taste good. He goes, oh, but chocolates are all done when you eat them all. And so I'm like, oh my God. So, after 38 years, actually, we were 28 years when I actually learned about B.A.N.K. I realized that if I understood where he was coming from, it was more thoughtful for him to give me that technical jacket than for him to go buy me flowers. And when I understood that, oh my goodness, that's why I'm still 38 years married to the guy. I love him. I wouldn't trade him for the world. But that's a K. K wants knowledge. So some of the values that you need to understand about a K is that they love learning. They're intelligent. They're logical. They want self-mastery. Technology is where it's at. They do a lot of their own research and development. They love science, and they believe in universal truth. So when you are speaking to a knowledge, don't make up any kind of shit, because they'll know when you're lying. And when they catch you in that lie, it's over, because they will not be able to trust you. They believe in truths, universal truths. So they also believe in expertise, competence, accuracy, and the big picture. So for knowledge, don't give them the minute detail. They want to just know the big picture. So does our action people. But you talk to a blueprint, they want the details. That's the difference between all of these different personalities. Okay. Some of the occupations that you'll find knowledge in, of course, is scientists, engineers, programmers, analysts, and researchers. So think about the people in your environment, your connections, and who are some of the knowledge people that you have that surround you.
And these are great people to have in your business, to have on your team, to have around you, because they are the ones, if they're on your team, they're going to have spreadsheets. They're going to have, and here's a true story. I had a guy on my team back in the day when I was with the travel company, and somebody asked about one of the trips that we had and what the price was and everything. And this guy literally, out of his briefcase, pulled a binder that was probably 3 to 4 inches thick. He had printed out every trip, every place that we had gone, everything. He had everything laid out alphabetically. He had it color coordinated and stuff. He could find everything in his binder within like 0.5 seconds of you asking a question, because he had to be the expert. He had to know everything. He wanted to be the guy that you came to ask questions. And these are the people you want on your team, because when you don't have the answer, guess who you point your team members to? You go, hey, look, Mamie's an expert in this. She knows all this. She's got all the spreadsheets and everything. Let me connect you with Mamie. And then that way, you don't have to be the expert. If you're an A, that's definitely not your expertise. That's not your field. Yours is about going out, talking to people, and getting them on your team. If you're an A like me, you find out who the green is, and when people ask you specific questions about a product, a service, what your company does, you say, you know what, those are great questions. Let me put you in front of the right person, and you put them in front of the green, and that will help you out.
So in line with the greetings, what do you think the greeting looks like for a knowledge?
Oh, there's a couple of greens in here. I know Jennifer Russell. I know she's around here somewhere. I know she's on this call. Where are you, Jennifer? Speak up.
I'm here. Hi.
What is the greeting for a green?
Goodness.
I'm-
Wait, let me do a spreadsheet on the possibility.
Jennifer, do you really see yourself when we talk about these values as a knowledge person?
Oh, absolutely. No, I think first thing I would say the ingredient. If it's a product, then I would want
Uh-huh.
to see ingredients. What's the ingredients in the product?
Yeah.
Results. What is the end result of whatever the product is that I'm going to use?
Very nice. Yep. Good. So this is what we thought of when we looked at the greeting. Hold on, yeah. No, we're just joking. We're just joking. But this we thought would get a kick out of all of our knowledge people. But the true greeting of a knowledge is not a handshake, not a high five, not a hug, definitely not a hug, but a business card. And the less amount of touching that goes on, the better it is for a knowledge. You agree with that, Jennifer?
Well, see, and I think because I was like starting out, I was more of a nurturer when I was younger, so I love hugs. So I'm maybe an anomaly. I'm a green that loves hugs and high five. So
You're evolving.
I
yeah,
would really love, Kent, sometimes we don't know how close we are in those things. So later on, when people are really wanting to know more, they can do an actual survey and get an actual number on what they want. So there's more on those tools.
Yeah, we
But
have
anyway,
a more in-depth
in-
test
Yeah.
to get the more accurate numbers on what you really are.
Yeah. But the greetings really for a knowledge person. A knowledge person, what you want to do is if you have a business card, just hand them your business card, and that is the greeting that is most used when you actually do it with the knowledge. All right? Any questions so far? Has this been valuable, guys? Yeah? Awesome.
I have a
So,
question.
what we wanted to do is, we said, well, we could do this in 90 seconds. How can we actually crack the code in 90 seconds? And I know that Kent, he's so excited because he was showing me how he actually cracked the code in 90 seconds. And what we're going to do is I'm actually going to let Kent have some fun, and I'm going to let him talk to you about this, how to crack the code in 90 seconds. Go ahead, Kent.
Oh my goodness. Well, we actually have a tool. And as you can see on the screen right there, we actually have cards that you've seen me show you guys on the screen. And I'm holding them backwards, of course. But we got these 4 different cards with the different personalities on there and the values for people to take a look at. So this makes it really easy for you to go into a meeting, go on a date, go meet somebody, to have these cards on you. And before you get started, are you going to show them what it says like?
Yeah.
Okay. You tell them to look at the information on the cards. All right. And then you let them, and then tell them to read the values and sort them out in order of choice from the most important on the top to the least important on the bottom. That's going to allow me to serve you better, and it's going to save us both time. Now, if you see the colors of the script, can you see that we've put all 4 different colors in the script? Look at the information. That's a green. Read the values and sort them out. And most important, the least important. That's the blue. All right. This is going to help me serve you better. That's the yellow. And it's going to save us both time. That's the red, the action person. All right. So when you put these cards in front of them, in literally 90 seconds, and I'm telling you, I carry these cards on me. I know Mamie's got them. I have them on my truck. I have them in my wallet. I have them. I got them all over the house because I always want to have these with me, because at the beginning, I wasn't good at cracking codes. I wasn't an expert at knowing all this stuff. So I started carrying these around, and this will literally save you time. Think about this. If you're sitting down at a Starbucks with somebody, you say, hey, before we get started, look at the information on these cards, read them, and put the most important on top to the least important on the bottom. That's going to help you serve you better, and it's going to save us both time. And you just go like this. You just hold the cards out and hand it to them. And they look at them, and I have yet to have somebody say, no, I don't want to do that.
No, that's right.
All right? That is key. They're going to look at them, and then here's how and you're going to get some quick notes too. If they do it really quick, you know you got an action person. If they sit there and they look at every single one of them, now you're going, okay, now they might be a blueprint. They might be a knowledge person because they're reading every single one of them. But what's awesome is when they hand them back, now when they have their card on the top, you know right away how you're going to approach them, how you're going to talk with them.
That's a good idea.
And which is going to increase your sales, so more people are going to buy your products, buy your service, or join your team. Does that make sense? Awesome.
You know, I've used this card when I went out. Remember I told you I used to work for a broadcast company. So can you imagine, I went to Argentina, and I needed to understand a little bit more. So I said, you know, we're going to play a game. And the game is, and instead of using those cards, Kent told you we had a deck for children. And so instead of the words, I had them use the pictures. So I had pictures and also had words. And so we use these with people who have English as a second language. I've also used these with kids as young as maybe 6, 8 years old. And so we can actually determine their personalities so that when we are talking to them, we know what values to actually bring up. And can you believe when I found out I was in this is software that I used to teach, and it was broadcast software that actually managed the programming and the commercials. So I thought they were all going to be knowledge-based. Can you believe? They were all nurturers. And so the actual presentation that I had to do, I had to actually change because I had actually put together a presentation for knowledge. And so what I needed to do was I actually shut down my computer and I talked about the benefits that they were going to get and the connections that they were going to make with the clients that they were going to be going out to sell either programming or commercials to. And when I was able to do that, the head of, I think it was like Sony and also CBS said, whoa. In my company, I was able, they gave me free reign on how to train my implementers, my technicians, my client services people. So they all got training in the personalities. And by the time we were all done, it was amazing because we were able to speak the language of the people that we were working with. And we then increased the value of our quality product and what we delivered as custom design software for each of the clients that I worked with. So does this work? Absolutely. Does this work on all levels? Priceless, especially when I'm working with children, as well as adults, as well as executives. So I literally can go into almost any position. I actually met the King of Thailand, and it was with B.A.N.K values that I knew the King of Thailand was a nurturer, but he was also knowledge. And so I made sure that I did my homework so that I could actually edify what he did, what his interests were. And, you know, not many people can say they worked for the King of Thailand, and I did. I crawled to the King of Thailand knowing that his nurturer value would look, not only look, but it made me authentic. And I crawled on the floor to meet this gentleman. And from there, I was introduced to many other opportunities, all because I understood what personality was right in front of me. Is that awesome or awesome? Cool. So the B.A.N.K cards, I know people are asking, how do we get it? So we'll talk about that. That's on that at the chat. I'm looking at questions that might be coming up on the chat. So we'll cover that in a moment, okay? Any questions so far? Has this been valuable to you? Have you learned something? Awesome, awesome. So, you know, with the combination of the value cards, learning the different values of each of the personalities will also help you to understand who's in front of you, okay? And for those of you please disregard the empowerment there. The other way that we can actually help you, and I'm just giving you some of the tool sets that Ken and I use. We have the tool set that you did. You went to mybankcode.com and you actually did the personality code online. You got a result. You know what's awesome? You got a result just for you. Kent and I get the results sent to us on how to communicate with you. So can you imagine, every time someone takes that code, Kent and I get a personal report that tells us that you are an NKAB, and this is what this is how we can interact with you. It gives us tips. It gives us sales tips. It tells us what you like and dislike, and it also gives us the triggers that help us communicate with you. And so we have two ways that you can actually get involved. You can get the cards, and then you can also do an online. Kent and I, we do the online. Why? Because we are engaged with clients, quite a bit of clients on a day-to-day basis. So what happens is we get to send out that link. Our clients or our prospective clients fill out the link, and then we have a background into how we can interact more efficiently in that round. And so that's another way that you can do, that you can actually crack personality codes on a more massive level. Okay. The other tools that we have is when you're online. So, you know, when you took the test, this is what Kent and I get to see. We get to see who you are, what your bank code is, what your email. So it becomes a, becomes a email. We get your email of record, so that if we wanted to, we could interact in a more, we could interact by promoting other products or something that we would like to get across to you. We not only do it on a one-to-one basis, but we also teach a class where you can actually, so we do live and webinars, and we teach classes on how you can take everything and anything that you have written on your website, and we do bank code. So some of the other tools that we use is we're able to work. It's perfect for sales, financial planners, real estate professionals, online marketing, relationships. I use this in my coaching program as well as my relationship programs I do. I also do it in all of my workshops. This is great for leadership, and this is great for corporate. So in the future, we're going to be actually putting on live, as well as if you don't have the time to come to a live event, Kent and I also have an online program where you can actually learn, and you can learn at your own pace, and we can actually intervene with discussions, and we also do masterminds around it. So those are some of the other tool sets that we actually offer. You know, we work closely with Les Brown because he's one of our mentors in B.A.N.K, and he says that B.A.N.K is a game changer. In fact, Les Brown incorporated B.A.N.K, and he actually put on a special invite to all of his people that were coaches or worked with him, and he actually set it up where they could get training in B.A.N.K to help them with their coaching, with their live webinars, live seminars, and all of that. But Les Brown, he appears at our trainings. In fact, we got to meet him last year. We got to spend the whole time with him. And then I'd like to just end to let you know that, like I said, we've got virtual programs. We've got live programs. We've got access to programs online where you can learn at your own pace. And in the near future, we're going to be actually putting a team of B.A.N.K trainers and affiliates together. So if you're interested in any one of those areas, what we'd like you to do is, one, if you'd like to get a set of those cards are $20 and then $3 shipping. If you'd like to learn more about additional training, Kent and I are going to actually be putting on another webinar specifically to talk about training and the possibilities of other next steps that you can do. And if you like it, you can get more training. And then if you really like it, we can actually introduce you to a program, our affiliate program, where you can actually earn commissions in referring people. So, any questions? That was a lot, wasn't it? But the floor is open. Any questions?
Let's stop sharing the screen so we can see people's faces and
Thank you.
go there.
Don't forget about that.
I do have a question, of course.
Of course you do.
Okay, first of all, Kent, what am I? What do you think I am?
You?
Yeah, besides obnoxious.
Let's see. Lisa. Well, you obviously you start off with an A.
See, I don't see that at all.
But see, let's see. Knowing you, you're more of a, you want to know everything. So you're a K.
Well,
I would say a K-A.
It's either K first or an N first, but I'm confused with, like, I don't think I'm a know-it-all. I just know I'm the smartest person in the room. No, I'm kidding.
No, you're just the person that always wants to have information.
Yes.
Yeah. So it's not a know-it-all, Lisa. It's more of give me the facts, the figures, and the data so that I can make my own decision. Does that make sense?
I get frustrated because I think I overthink so much, and I'll hear people in a conversation say stuff, and then they'll say like point A and I'll say point E, and they go, where do you get that from? And I went, hold on, y'all. And I go, A leads to this, B leads to that, blah, blah, blah. And they go, oh, I get it now. And I'm like, and with my girlfriends that I'm friends with for 20 plus years, I'm like, okay, let me dummy it down for y'all. And they laugh at me. But to me, I used to always feel that I was stupid because I thought way ahead of things. And then I had to slow down to explain, and I thought it was me. So it leads to insecurity with my thought pattern. So that's why I'm like, where do you get this from? Because I'm the hugger and I'm the caring person, and I'm all about the help in the world as opposed to making the almighty dollar. And, the hug thing and all that stuff.
That brings up a very good point, Lisa. Every single one of us has each of those traits.
Okay.
It just means that one is more prevalent than the other. Okay. And so we do have an actual test that you can actually take that will give you some numbers that make sense why you can switch into the different personalities much quicker. Okay.
Yeah, and then there are some people that their color is all four colors are the same value. There's not one that's higher or lower. They're all the same. Kind of like the Matrix, when Neo takes, Neo knows everything. He's well balanced and stuff like that. What do we call that, Mamie?
A divergent.
Divergent, yeah.
Put it this
Divergent means they're equally balanced in all four colors.
So, a lot of people, when they meet me, they're not really sure. They already know I'm a nurturer. And the reason for that is, so if we took a look at a score, the highest you can get is 25, the lowest is 1 or 0. As a nurturer, I'm a 25. But I did not realize what those numbers meant because we took the test before we understood what B.A.N.K was. But if you put me in a room, I can run an event that is 20 people, and I can run an event that's 10,000 people. That skill set is a blueprint.
That's me.
So I'm a 25 nurturer, but I'm a 24 action. I'm a 24 nurturer blueprint, and a 24 knowledge. And so if you see me in different environments, you will think that what do they call it? I'm that change of personality, because what you'll see is if I'm in blueprint mode, I am in blueprint mode. I am organized. I am constantly looking at budget, timing, and whatevers. But you see, it also depends on the skill sets that you bring and the jobs that you're in, because some of these are learned behaviors. Does this make sense?
Horrible with timing. I'm horrible with timing. When Ken said, if you're there 5 minutes early, you're on time. And I'm like, no, I'll never be on time, you know, but I'm terrible with that.
So we know you're not a blueprint.
That's the last, I definitely know that's the last thing that I am.
Yeah. Well, based on what you had used, your verbiage, I would safely guess that you are a knowledge nurturer right there. And then we'll leave it at that. See, the good news is this. When you're using those cards, what you want to know is you want to know what their primary is, and you want to know what their least is, so that last card, because you never want to go there with what that last card is. So you want to always play to the primary, okay? If you're not sure, then what you do is learn the values, and you can use the different values as you speak, okay? Does that make sense?
Yeah, are we going to go into, not tonight, obviously, but learning how to go after the other person? I mean, I understand the basic of how to pick up on maybe. I think tonight I was more curious about finding out what I was.
What you doing? I mean, you ain't making no soup.
Hey, guys.
Is you hungry?
I don't know who that is.
You damn scavenger. Clean your mess up.
Hey, Coralie. Or Avelino, or somebody's not.
Yeah, I can't mute because Mamie's got the remote, so that's
sorry.
all.
Oh, forgive me.
Back control.
Cell phone.
Yeah, give me the remote and I'll mute her. There you go.
How do I give up control?
That's a good question. It's all good. We're almost over anyhow. So.
Okay. All right. Okay. Any other questions?
Yes, there will be. We do have more intensive training. Like we literally, to go through all 4 different personalities, we take a full half day just to go through the first 2, and then we do another half day to go through the last 2. And we go through each of the values and why that is that person's personality, why they go with those values, what those values mean, and why it's so important to those people. So Mimi and I are working on putting a workshop together so that if you guys want to come out and do that with us for a full day and get this in-depth training, you can. If you want to get the cards, I put in the chat room my email. If you guys want to PayPal me for the cards, you can. And I'll get those sent out to you. And these are great. You know, I use them all the time. Like I said, a buddy of mine used it a while ago on a date. I use them when I go to the coffee shops. And the thing is we actually have it so that you can use these online as well. So feel free to reach out to me or Mamie about those. We can give you more information on that. But we really just wanted to teach you guys the personalities, why it's so important to know these, the type of people that are attracted to you. Why? Because you have the same personality. You have the same color type. And so it's when a lot of times you are sitting down or you're doing sales and you get that quick sales, people are like, oh, that's awesome, I did it. It's because you're speaking the same language. And a lot of times when you go and sit down with people and they're not listening to you, they're toning out, they're shuffling paper and stuff like that, you can get really frustrated real quickly because you're not speaking their language. But if you can change that, you're going to keep their attention, they're going to listen to you, and then, like we always say, you're going to get more of a yes than a no.
You know, Kent, there was a question about, is one color more prominent within population, and do you find most people are a certain color? The color codes for personalities is diverse in all cultures. But if you took a look at it from a cultural basis, we don't have the science to prove this yet, but based on, say, Hawaii, because that's where I'm from. So the Hawaiians, we have the culture base is nurturer, because that is the way the culture is brought up. If you take a look at Germany Germany is more blueprint. Okay, so we are looking at, we have seen it from a cultural basis, but all 4 personalities is prevalent in every culture that we've been in. But the way the culture is brought up, we could have, we are going to begin to see, we're in 40 countries. So, you know, we have seen prominence in the way the culture is, and it does have a tendency towards one personality, but we don't have the basis for it, so we're not going to say that it's scientifically based at this time. But I'm from Hawaii, so majority of the people that you see are nurturers first, and it's partly based on that culture that we were brought up in. Okay. Hopefully that answered your question.
All right, guys. Is there any other questions? Anything you want to know? I mean, we are here to, you know, this training's for you guys to educate you and advance your knowledge, so that way when you're sitting down with people, you're not just running and rambling off a script. You're thinking about it.
Mm-hmm.
All right. And you're going, oh my gosh, am I talking to a blueprint? Am I talking to a nurturer? Am I talking to an action person? And then thinking, what are those values that action person is? What are those values of the blueprint? Like being early, Lisa. You know, when you're talking with a blueprint, you better not be late, or otherwise that deal's done. You're not going to close that deal. All right. So you also have to evolve. If you're a nurturer and you know you're late and you're talking to a blueprint, you better set your alarm an hour early to get there so that you're on time.
I'm gonna give him a big old hug. Maybe he'll be okay with it. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah.
You know, that's where you get to play. You get to play a lot with this. You know, from a business perspective, we've used B.A.N.K in so many different ways, and we've had fun. My business partner outside of Kent, he is a total action. You can hear him before you see him. And when we went into business with B.A.N.K, he says, damn, Amy, I need you to come over and help me. And so, you know what we ended up doing is with Nick's business, he's in the blades, what is that? Non-exploding blades. And I said, what the hell? I don't know anything about non-exploding blades. And so what we did was we took a look at every position he had in his company. We took a look at what personality would be best suited for that position. And we wrote the job descriptions based on what we needed that person to be like. And can you believe this? The first position we asked for was executive assistant. That executive assistant needed to be blueprint because she or he needed to be able to run an office and be organized, stick to a budget. But what we also realized is that we needed that person to have some nurturing in it, in that position, because if that executive assistant pissed off all the salespeople, we would be in deep shit. And so we made sure that we had blueprint and nurturer types of characteristics and values in that job description. And would you believe we were able to get 200 perfectly matched people to that to that job description. From that job description, we then asked them to take the survey. From the survey, we were able to look at the numbers we needed for a great blueprint with a balance of nurturer. So we wanted it where their nurturer and their blueprint were pretty close in numbers. And would you believe we were able to do that for every position? We took a sales position and we tested it. We wrote the scripts for that person. And can you believe exploding blades or non-explosive blades? We got a woman to be able to get used to the sales script and speak the sales script to the personality that we knew the client was, because we had the clients all do their own personality test. So when the salesperson was talking to them, they knew what script to actually use. And can you believe that woman who had no knowledge of the exploding blade. So $20,000 of blades in less than 20 minutes. Because she knew the personality of the client and she used the correct script to actually close the deal. So we were able to do that. And we were able to get everyone in their position without having to do much training. Why? Because they brought their skill set to the position. So it was awesome. And they have now tripled their sales in blades. And they just now, I think they are now not just domestic, but they have now gone global. And they just got, I think their biggest client now is the New York Fire Department. Isn't that awesome? All because they switched their sales techniques. So I'll be quiet now.
And use this knowledge for good.
Yeah.
And not to fake stuff, Holly. I see your chat's going. Use this. No, seriously, this is great information to know. This is great information. You have learned something that is growing your knowledge and your expansion. So now when you sit down, even with your friends, you test this out all the time. Use what you've learned tonight all the time. Practice. It's just like we did the form training. How many of you guys are practicing form every day? How many of you are practicing on your spouse, on your coworkers, on people that you're meeting in Starbucks? It's the same thing. When you're meeting people, you want to crack their codes, and the more you practice, the better you get. And the cool thing is if you have the tools, it makes it a lot easier. Yeah. That just takes the guesswork out. You don't even have to guess. They tell you within 90 seconds what their color is. And it makes it easy to talk to. And the funny thing is, if there's a long line in Starbucks, I'll tap the person in front of me and be like, hey, while we're standing here, can you help me out? I literally give them the cards. And guess what? 9 out of 10 times, they're like, wow, what are these? And how do I get some of these? And can you tell me more? And do you teach this stuff? And guess what? Then I have a client. Then we're having somebody in our class. Somebody wants to buy the card, and they're using them, and they're practicing them. And it just allows me to educate more people on this stuff. So that's why I get all excited about it.
All right. Awesome.
All right. If you guys don't have any questions, we are done for tonight. That was literally an hour and a half of your time. I thank you guys for coming on board. Thank you for taking the time. We did record this, so if you guys want to replay it and listen to Mamie talk about the blueprint, the action, the nurture, and the knowledge. And I hope a lot of you guys have notes. I know I saw some of you guys scribbling and stuff like that. Oh, look at that, Kimberly. There you go. Look at that. She's got all her notes and stuff. This is training that you can go back and re-educate yourself. See, Steven's got his notes and stuff like that. Michelle's got her notes. This recording is here to serve you, to help you and stuff like that. But this isn't the only training we're going to do. We're going to have more training, more education, more leadership skills that you're going to want to know about. All right? We're going to do goal setting. We're going to do all kinds of fun stuff. So just stick in the group, enjoy it. This is your family. You're going to have tons of knowledge, and we're going to have a lot of fun.
Awesome.
Awesome, guys. Any last minute questions before we go? Because I already see Christine Zorn's yawning.
I gotta go. Good night, everybody.
All right, good night, everybody. Thanks, and we'll see you again soon.
Thank you, Mamie. Thank you, Mamie.
You're very welcome. I had fun with y'all.
Thank you.
I want to know who ate the soup. Thank you. I was literally crying. Between me and Lisa, I couldn't hold back. I had to turn around. It's too funny.
All right, guys.
Bye.
Bye. Thank y'all.
Bye.